Hi, Capricorn Sun and Rising. Welcome to your September 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here. Well, from the 4th of September, actually. And there are some transits. Actually, the important transits don't get started until the 5th. So I'm not too late after all. And I think one of the big themes for Capricorns is the idea of expanding territory because the action is centered in the ninth house as September gets underway. You have the sun in the ninth in Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign like you are, so there is that affinity that you have with Virgo energy, and this is going to be with several transits. So that trine that these two planets make to one another harmonizes contact. What that does is it makes things more likely or easier to manifest. But I don't like to just kind of write it off like, or not write it off, but promote it like that, because you still have to take that initiative. You know, it's not about something dropping in your lap. And if a person is complacent, they can have really great transits, opportunities, and they will squander those opportunities. And, truth be told, I don't think that it's anything wrong with that, because you have to ultimately trust your higher self, your gut, whatever you want to call it, in whatever it is that you go after. Even if some astrologer is telling you that there are good aspects, it's not necessarily what you feel called to do at that time. But I'm just saying that there might be some outer event that is kind of a catalyst for this, whether it's long distance travel, whether it's academia. And this will actually be something that you are rethinking, because on the ninth, we have a retrograde at almost 9 degrees of Libra, and that's your 10th house of career. So when we have, Mercury retrogrades in the 6th house or the 10th house or even the 2nd house, and these are all the earth houses, the way you earn money, what you do for a living, all these things can be like reviewed, or you can think twice about it, in other words, that you're not sure you want to still do it, and it doesn't have to be just one phase of life. It's not just a midlife crisis. It can be somebody who just graduated college and is like in the quote unquote real world and doesn't like what they see, or somebody who is retiring. But certainly, thinking about what you're doing and whether or not it's making you happy is a very good thing. Going on automatic in life and just going through the motions because you think that's what you have to do, that makes no sense, because the time is limited. The time is, time is an illusion, but you know what I mean. The time on this earth, in this lifetime, being the identity that you are, is fleeting. So if there's something you want to do and you're waiting around and hoping it's magically going to get better when there's no evidence of that, that's what I think makes no sense. And there obviously people have to pay their bills, so I get it. But I'm talking about not making other plans or just kind of going along with the program. So this may come up in one way, shape, or form, and because Mercury's going back to the ninth house on the 23rd of September, this can be that you are incorporating your spiritual beliefs or your philosophical beliefs. And the reason I separate the two is because sometimes people don't really have a spiritual path or a spiritual, or some kind of religious or spiritual guidance, but they do have kind of a a way of thinking about life that they have created themselves, which is to me perfectly fine, because as long as people are living intentionally, that's the whole point. And so, and you may think about these things and you may even alter your beliefs because you realize that you have to kind of change how you think about something. What I wouldn't be surprised, we're getting towards that tail end of Pluto transiting your sign. So Pluto, it can purify things. So with Capricorn, it can purify your motives, the things that the way that you perceive life itself. And with Capricorn, sometimes that Saturn or Saturnine, I don't know, um, influence can make the person think that, life is a bitch and then you die. It's kind of like cynical, and that you have to be tough in life. And maybe experiences have shown that to you, that you have to just like kind of grin and bear it. And yet, if you have encountered any kind of ethical challenges for some reason, if you did something that, may have been by the book, may have been something that the establishment told you was correct, but you no longer believe that it's correct, that kind of thing is an example of transcending the programming, where you begin to assert your own sovereignty over that system that tried to tell you that you had to obey somebody else's dictates. And this can be in different areas of life where this occurs. And but I'm speaking specifically with career matters. You're a teacher and you don't like what they're teaching, or you don't like the environment that students are being forced to, or practices that the students are forced to engage in as part of the rules of the school. And so you feel like it's doing more harm than good. Or you work in the medical field, same thing. Even in spiritual communities, there can be those kinds of, if your own business, some kind of ethical dilemma, and you have to kind of really work through that. And that might be going through your mind, and it might change your course of direction. Just for reference sake, Mercury goes direct around, I think it's October 2nd, so it's not in the purview of this reading, but I just want to mention that on the 17th, there's a full moon it's 17th, the 10th, there's a full moon at 17 degrees of Pisces. And this is a friendly angle to you as well. It's coming after you, so it's a sextile that is in your third house. The third house is the house of communication, but that can involve the internet, social media, anything that you do that's writing. So either it's a blog or a book. Maybe you've written a book and now you're putting the finishing touches on it. It can be some kind of training that you've engaged in, or a teaching assignment, the younger grades, not college level, but younger. And siblings can be the third house, and you may hear news about one of them, gain insight into one of them, or maybe you even stop contacting one of them. Because let me think here. I'm trying to think what some of you may have had somebody pass away over the summer, and there's some kind of money, will, and there could be some issues surrounding that, and that might be why you're ending things with a sibling. You feel that they are not being straightforward, or there's just some conflict. But it could be just like a spiritual download, because this is the third house of the mind. So Pisces is the last sign. It could be like this epiphany of sorts. The equinox is happening on the 22nd or 23rd, depending on where you live. Power period. Actually, that week of the equinox, there is a power period, because then we have Mercury next day going back into Virgo, and we have a new moon in Libra on the 25th, a few days after the equinox. So that's, to me, very powerful. And there might be something for you, because this is the 10th house. There may be some new opportunities for you. And because Mercury is retrograde, it might even be places that you applied to before and they didn't have anything then, but now they do. So don't be surprised if you hear you get a call back from a place that you filled out an application or you sent a resume, and they're like, "Oh, you still available?" And then with that new moon in Libra, this is something where you could be making progress with your career objectives, and it's opening new doors, or having new job offers. But the career, that might be more of the sixth house. The 10th house sometimes has those similar transits where I think if somebody's out of work, that it might be that they hear back from somebody. Also, on the 29th, Venus is going here. So that's also very good for popularity. And yeah, so this is a great month, in other words, for career advancement, or going into a new field, although Mercury is retrograde, so it might even be going back into some other type of field that you might have not appreciated it, and now you appreciate it so much more. And so I hope that this resonated, Virgo. I mean, Capricorn. I was thinking of Virgo. I was looking at the word Virgo. I hope this resonated, Capricorn. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.